Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Jen and I'm so glad you're here. Today I'm sitting in my kitchen because I'm about to share some tips and tricks I have learned over the years with my large family on how to save money on grocery and food costs. This video out to help those of you who maybe math isn't your strong suit. So I'm going to actually crunch the numbers for you, and this video is going to show you how you can save hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month on your food bill. So I've got 5 tips that I'm going to be giving, and I actually have one incredible bonus tip at the very end of this video, so make sure you watch all the way to the end to get that bonus tip. I have my notes in front of me, I've been to the grocery store, I've written everything down, so I'm giving you current and accurate information, and we're just about to dive in here. So my first tip is switch grocery stores. So this is something that a lot of people don't put very much stock in. They think, does it really matter which grocery store I go to? Does it really make a difference in cost? And it really does. In my little town, we have 2 grocery stores within a 15-minute radius of our place. And one of them is, I'm sure lots of Canadians will recognize the name, one of them is Zehrs, and one of them is Food Basics. So Zehrs is known as maybe a little bit on the pricier side in terms of groceries, and Food Basics is a discount grocery store. Now I know a lot of people in my town choose to go to Zehrs instead because they say, oh, it's not really that much of a difference in price, I'm not saving that much, and I just like the food better at Zehrs, which is fine. But I wanted to put it out there that I actually calculated item for item a week of groceries for my family from Zehrs and from Food Basics. And the difference was actually about $100 for identical items, identical brand names, identical, even a lot of the produce was from the same area or the same name on the produce. So $100 a week is not really anything to sneeze at. It's a big difference. So what you're paying for in a more expensive grocery store is usually the atmosphere, to be honest. You're paying for, you know, beautiful signage, soaring high ceilings, nice shelves, everything being, you know, perfectly manicured looking and well stocked. And when you have a cheaper grocery store, it's a little bit more like a warehouse where they're literally, you know, there's boxes of stuff, they're just setting stuff out on shelves as fast as they can. And it's actually not really different items, it's just a different atmosphere. So for my family, saving $100 a week on groceries just by switching atmospheres is totally worth it. Tip number 2 is when you're grocery shopping to buy no-name brands instead of brand name. Now I know there's some of you watching this who are gonna kind of stick up their noses at that because I've heard this before from lots of different people that, oh, no-name stuff tastes disgusting, anything but Heinz ketchup is so gross, why would you get that? And I just wanted to say that this is a tip I get from my mom. I get from it honestly. I grew up eating all the kind of no-name, non-brand name foods. And to be completely honest with you, I prefer those tastes. So I think it just depends on what you're used to. So if you start off feeding your children, you know, President's Choice mac and cheese instead of Kraft Dinner mac and cheese, or Great Value Cheerios instead of, you know, General Mills brand Cheerios, they're probably just gonna prefer what you fed them originally. So I actually went to the grocery store just this morning so that I could compare prices to see how much do I really save on buying those non-brand name versus brand name. So I've got my list. I'm gonna let you guys know what some of those items the difference were. So for example, I mentioned ketchup. So Heinz ketchup runs you about $4.99 for a 1 kilogram bottle, which is, we buy large bottles in our family. And if I went with the Equate brand, which is like a no-name brand, it was $3.47. So I saved $1.50 by getting the different brand. For mayonnaise, I know we've got a lot of Hellmann's mayonnaise lovers in Canada, and Hellmann's is delicious mayonnaise, but honestly, when you're slapping stuff on a sandwich or popping it into a recipe, your kids aren't gonna notice the difference. So Hellmann's mayonnaise is $3.97 for the size my family gets, which I think is about, it's either 500 mil or maybe it's 1 liter. The no-name version, instead of $3.97 like Hellmann's, was $2.87. So that's actually a pretty big difference. It's over $1 just on mayonnaise, and we go through 1 or 2 containers of mayonnaise a week around our place. So the next thing I looked at was soup. So just condensed cream of chicken soup. Honestly, it doesn't taste that much different to me. When I'm putting it in a recipe or a creamy casserole, I can't taste the difference. So the Selection brand, which is not a brand name, was 67 cents a can, and the Campbell's brand was $1.97 a can. So I'm giving you all these numbers in non-sale prices. So none of these things were on sale this week. This is their regular price. So you could be getting them even cheaper, but I wanted to give a realistic view. And let's face it, we don't all have time to go, you know, around to each store and find what's on sale. We don't always have time to go through the flyers and see what the sale price is. So this is just a really easy tip, switching brand names, that's gonna save you money. So the next thing I checked was cereal, and wow, cereal, the cereal aisle, you can save a ton of money. So my children love, they're called Honey Nut O's, which is a Selection brand of cereal, and it's actually $2.67 for a big box. The same size of box for the brand name Cheerios was, let me just check here, $4.87 a box, like $2 difference a box there, okay? The next thing I checked was mustard. So the no-name mustard was $1, and the French's mustard was $1.97, same size. We also got salad dressing. So I didn't get the same kind, but salad dressing is always the same price no matter which kind, whether you get ranch or French dressing or Greek. It seems to be always the same price no matter what kind, but there is a difference in the brands. So $1.87 for Great Value salad dressing versus $2.77 for Kraft dressing. There's another buck. When you talk about Kraft Dinner, so Kraft Dinner brand, $1.29 for a box, which is a pretty cheap way to eat, but the no-name version is 77 cents. That is super cheap. Okay, if we're looking at peanut butter, that's something my kids eat a lot of at breakfast time. The Great Value peanut butter was $3.37 versus Jiffy, which was, or Jif, sorry, for $4.97. So $1.60 right there. So I just wanted to give you those price differences to show you what you can save on individual items, but I tallied it up for our family and how much we save a week by me switching brands, and we save at least $50 a week by switching brands. So switching grocery stores, $100 a week, switching brand types, $50 a week. Let's go on to tip number 3. And tip number 3 is to cook from scratch. And I know I'm a busy mom. I have 6 kids and they're running all over the place all the time. And I know it's hard to find the time to cook from scratch, especially you moms that are working full time. It's hard to cook from scratch. Sometimes it means doing weekend meal prepping. Sometimes it means, honestly, I shouldn't say working moms, because dads, they can cook from scratch too. And so this is something the whole family can get involved in, and you're gonna save a ton of money cooking things from scratch. So I wanted to give you an idea of just some things that if you're doing homemade, how much cheaper it is. So I went to the store and I bought a 10-pound bag of potatoes, just white potatoes, and the price for the 10-pound bag of potatoes is, let me check my prices, $4.98. And that's pretty typical. That's not on sale. That's how much it is in our area for 10 pounds of potatoes. So basically about 50 cents a pound. And then I just scooched right next to those potatoes was the freezer section, where you can get just ready-made potato wedges that are super easy, just throw in your oven. I get them sometimes, we all do. And they had really big bulk bags full for a pretty good price, like a massive bag, a 5-pound bag for $10, which is pretty unheard of for that type of a product. It's Cavendish, which is made in PEI in Canada. And so if I was getting 10 pounds of that, that would be the 2 5-pound bags, that would cost me $20. So you know what? If I took my 10-pound bag of potatoes and I chopped them up and tossed them in olive oil and herbs and spices and baked them in the oven, if I did that instead of the frozen ready-made kind, then I'm saving, you know, 15 bucks. That's a lot of money. Other things, for example, for carrots. So for kids' lunches, I know it's super easy just to pop baby carrots in their lunches. I do it. But if you're wanting to save some money on that, you can save quite a bit by just buying a bag of carrots and peeling them and chopping them. It's funny, I read a study once where there was a group of kindergartners and they couldn't recognize an actual carrot because they were so used to seeing them in baby carrot form. But a 2-pound bag of just actual carrots is $1.98, not on sale at my grocery store. If you buy a 2-pound bag of baby carrots, you're paying $3.98. So there's $2 right there. If you go through a couple bags of those a week, or at least one bag, you're saving a couple bucks. So I also did a calculation of what my family saves by that kind of cooking from scratch a week versus buying the convenience items. And I came up with that I save at least $50 a week, usually more, but it would be at least $50 a week. So total that up with the other stuff and we're at 200 bucks a week now we're saving on some of these grocery saving items. So tip number 4 is a really important one. It's very hard to do, but tip number 4 is cook at home instead of eating out. And I know it's so tempting to eat out, especially maybe if you're in a city center and there's so many restaurants. But one thing I wanted to talk about right now is something I've often heard from people when, for example, if there's a sale at Domino's Pizza or there's coupons they get from McDonald's. And I hear this comment over and over again. And I hear people saying, oh, I couldn't make dinner for that cheap. For example, Domino's Pizza would have a deal on where you get 2 large 3-topping pizzas for 20 bucks. And they're like, I can't even make a meal that cheap. Why wouldn't I get Domino's? It only makes sense. Well, okay, that is pretty cheap. But if you think about a homemade meal, what you can do for cheap homemade, for example, I can make yummy ramen noodle soup and have a sleeve of crackers for the kids and a big thing of pears for dessert, the canned pears, and that will feed my family of 8 for about $6. So yeah, 20 bucks is really cheap for 2 pizzas, but you can make a meal cheaper than that at home even. There is nothing that is cheaper than eating at home, to be honest with you. I know ramen noodles and soda crackers and canned pears aren't the most healthy, but neither is Domino's Pizza. So I can feed my entire family of 8 at home for less than the price of a value meal at McDonald's for one person. It really is so much cheaper to eat at home. And if you can cut eating out of your life as much as possible, pack a picnic supper if you're on the road. If you're going to hockey, pack those sandwiches, pack the supper in a thermos, buy some thermoses for your kids and put some super chili in it instead of eating out. You're gonna save so much money. So tip number 5, we're getting down to the end of our tips, is something that I practice and I really believe in, and that is to menu plan ahead of time before you go grocery shopping. So I make my week's worth of plans and before I go grocery shopping, and then I make a list of all the food I need for what I'm cooking that week. And this is important, I do not buy anything that is not on the list. So when I go to the grocery store and there's something, oh look, that thing's on sale, what a deal. Or I say, oh look, oh that looks so delicious. If it's not on my list, it is not in my cart. I don't care what kind of deal it is, that you can end up buying so many things you don't need that way. So it's just something that I practice, and you go to the grocery store having eaten so you're not starving when you're shopping, and you just buy what's on your list. And by doing that, you're gonna save probably about 50 bucks a week on not buying things you don't need. and no food waste, because you know exactly what you're eating that week and you know exactly how much you need. So you're not buying more than you need. I forgot to mention with my last tip number 4, how much you can save a week by not eating out. And for a family of 4, you're gonna save about $100, because the average family of 4 might eat out twice a week and spend $50 at, you know, if it's, you know, McDonald's or whatever. So for our family, that would be like $200 a week. Okay, so adding in all of these tips, I came up with a number here that's pretty conservative. I think I even save more than this a week, but my grand total savings a week is about $300 with all of these tips together, maybe even $350. So $300 a week is pretty amazing. And when you add that up, you're looking at least kind of $1,400 a month. So if you think about it that way, saving $1,400 a month, that's a mortgage payment for us. That means the difference between me working full-time or not. $1,400 a month, if you consider, you know, childcare and all of that stuff, that's probably one person's take-home pay. If you're a single parent, that $1,400 a month that you're saving, that you could put towards housing, you could put towards a vacation for your family, you could put towards whatever it may be, paying off your mortgage faster. $1,400, if you calculate that for a year, if you try this for a year, you're looking at $16,800 a year. $16,800 a year I save by employing these food measures. So my family, I regularly spend only about $200 or less on groceries a week, if you can believe it, on a big family. And the average cost, I looked it up, for a family of 4, not a family of 8, for a family of 4 in Canada for groceries is $300 a week on their groceries or food costs. And I know there are people watching right now who are a family of 4 with 2 kids that are like, yeah, that's what I spend a week on food. That's what I spend a week on groceries. You can spend so much less than that. So if I'm spending $200 a week for a family of 8, you can spend $100 a week for a family of 4. And believe me, I did it. When my husband and I first got married, now it was 15 years ago, we spent $50 a week on food. And we survive, we eat well, we eat produce, we eat fruit at every meal, we have lots of veggies in our diet, but you are able to do that just by employing these tips. Okay, so you've made it all the way to the end of the video, and I told you there was going to be one bonus tip, and this is an amazing tip, and it might just change your life. So my bonus tip for saving money on food is you do not need to buy in bulk to save money on food. This is a common misconception, but if you go into your grocery aisle or you go to Costco or whatever and you actually check the price per unit, per milliliter, per milligram on that jumbo thing of laundry detergent or like massive box of cereal, and you check, oftentimes it's actually less per item, less per milliliter, less per milligram to get the regular size. You're actually paying a premium to get a huge container of this stuff. Okay, so it's not necessarily cheaper to buy in bulk. So my local Food Basics, which is also a discount grocery store, many items there are the same or cheaper than Costco. So why am I gonna spend gas money to go all the way to Costco? Maybe you just like to go because you like that experience, and that's fine. But if you're in a tight spot in your life right now and you need to save money, really consider just backing off on all the bulk buying. It's also gonna simplify your life. You're not gonna have a cluttered home full of tons of stuff you don't need and you might not be using. You're going to feel a little less stressed because your closet's not gonna necessarily be, you know, an episode of Hoarders with a million things, but it's just something that I've found in my life, and believe me, I used to do this. I used to buy a lot of things in bulk and in massive quantities, and it took me a while to learn and to pick up on the fact that that is actually not cheaper, and was not saving me money, and was not helping our family lifestyle any either. So that's my bonus tip. So I really hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope you got something out of it. You learned something new. If you did, please give me a big thumbs up at the bottom. It would really help the channel. And I would just so love it to see you subscribe. Push that red button down below, click the bell notification, subscribe to the channel. And one more thing, I want to know if you have more tips that I haven't shared in this video about how to save money on food and groceries. I'd love for you to leave a comment below. How does your family save? Maybe you want to leave a comment below and say, this is kind of crazy, I'm not going to try any of these tips. I don't know what you want to comment on, but I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to have a conversation about this because it is something that's really important to me and to my family in order for us to afford to have a big family and to live how we do. So anyway, that's all I have for you today. We will have future videos all about budgeting and different aspects of our life. So I hope you're looking forward to learning more about budgeting. And I just wanted to say that I hope you have a wonderful day. Okay, so until next time, for the least, this is Jen. Bye guys.